What's up, guys? This is the Gospel According to Mark with a C. He is I and I am he. Just taking some time to tell you exactly what's on my mind. Thank you for joining me once again, my friends. I hope you've all been well in my absence. Guys, let me address something because in a few weeks, we will all be called to witness the hopefully, the final chapter in the Indiana Jones saga. What I, with all love and respect, like to call Indiana Jones in the Lost Parking Space, or Indiana Jones in the Golden Shower, but officially it's called Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. And yes, it will be coming out at the end of June 30th, I believe. And unfortunately, guys, this is preceded by a bunch of truly terrible reviews, which I do find to be mind-boggling because this is coming out of Lucasfilm Disney, which can literally buy your ass and mine. They can buy the whole world, and sometimes I think they have. So for everybody out there who tend to judge others by what they spend money on, I think you better get a full report on everything that Disney owns in this world, and you might be surprised to find out that you are descended from slave owners. No, you have been supporting Disney without even knowing it. It's almost impossible to not do that. You buy some dog food these days, you're supporting Disney. It's just how it is. Accept it. But anyway, bringing it back to Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. Yes, the reports, the reviews, the early reviews are not good, guys. And like I said before, when you keep in mind Disney can buy all of the good reviews in the world, which is the reason why I am going to focus right now on the bad reviews, because there has to be balance. I've said this before. Yes, there are reports out there in reviews of Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny being an enjoyable romp and all of those things. Of course, nobody has a problem with that. What they have a problem with is actual legitimate criticism. So since we don't always get that balance, I am going to focus on the negative criticism. You can find the good criticism. Of course, if you want to go see it for yourself, that's totally your prerogative. There's nothing about this video that's telling you not to go see it. But I do think it's disheartening, some of the things that you're seeing here. And I'm going to explain to you why that is as an absolute lover of the Indiana Jones movies, and that's me. Don't get it twisted. From day one, Raiders of the Lost Ark sparked my imagination. It inspired me all over the place. I love Indiana Jones. I love Harrison Ford. Just as much or more than anybody else. All right, but I do believe this is a disservice to the character. Ultimately, I believe that it's a disservice to the actor, and I'm going to explain to you why, and also to the fans, which is why I call it Indiana Jones in the Golden Shower, because I feel like they're pissing all over all of us at this point. I don't understand why this movie even was even made. Okay, so let's get into this. Okay, this is on Rotten Tomatoes, which by now, like I said, we don't put too much stock in Rotten Tomatoes, right? But this is what's being said here. And this is the first review here by Rory Doherty. And it says, a film that inherits the directing mantle from Steven Spielberg should know when to step up. It's about time executives realize that franchises can't be cleanly separated from the visions and talents of those who made them. Now that is a powerful one. That's a powerful one to lead off with, guys. We talked about this on The Dump last night on Sporking News podcast, and I will read it again. A film that inherits the directing mantle from Steven Spielberg should know when to step up. And pay attention to this. It's about time executives, Kathleen Kennedy, realize that franchises can't be cleanly separated from the visions and talents of those who made them. And of course, that's what we see more than anything these days. We see all of these executives thinking that they can run around George Lucas, thinking they can run around Gene Roddenberry, thinking they can run around everyone who actually have the talent and the vision and the imagination to come up with these things, not realizing that there was a philosophy that ran through all of these. There was inspiration that these people are out of touch with. So this one starts off with saying that that's what's missing here, and that's the reason why so many of these reimaginings and reboots feel so soulless. It goes on to Siddhant Adlanka, who says, The camera rarely creates meaning on its own, except where there's a familiar brown fedora somewhere on the screen, at which point it charges towards it like a happy pup reuniting with its owner. A shot that it repeats at least on four separate occasions. All right, so of course they're going to be drawn back to Indiana Jones, right? Harrison Ford. And of course, I made the point also last night, Harrison Ford is never not going to be fun to watch. All right, so anyone who's thinking there won't be any joy to be had here is fooling yourself. Harrison Ford is always going to be fun to watch. However, the other point that I wanted to get into about this is that you get to a certain age, right? We're going to have to address this elephant in the room because Harrison Ford is now 80 years old, I believe, or is going to be 80 years old. He's around 80-ish, okay? He's old, and there's nothing wrong with being old. Hopefully, I'll get old. I don't know, or older. But, yeah, all of us probably want to live as long as we possibly can and be vibrant, right? So Harrison Ford is up there, okay? When you see old people, right, the challenge here, especially when you've always been strong and accomplished and respected and at the top of your game, the challenge is when to know when to sit down, right? When to take it easy, when to call it a day. One of my favorite actors is Gene Hackman, legendary movie tough guy, right? Gene Hackman has got to be something like 90, maybe older than 90. He had to face it. He could no longer be that tough guy anymore. I would love to see another Gene Hackman movie where he's kicking ass. I would love to see Robert De Niro and Joe Pesci playing more gangsters and stuff like that. But the time has come, as The Irishman proved to all of us. Sometimes you do need to say, that's a wrap. That's my career. And a great career it was, you know? But for those of us everyday people, it could be something as simple as it's time to turn in your driver's license. And yes, this is a downer when you think about it. Nobody wants to give up their independence. No one wants to give up their glory days. No one wants to not be seen as hot to young women anymore. You know what I mean? But it tends to happen. It tends to creep up on you. And when it does, you have to be wise enough to know this. Now, Harrison Ford, like I said, being 80 years old, it is undeniable that your chances of seeing an 80-year-old beat the shit out of young people and jump off of trains and jump out of windows and hit the ground rolling and get up and running, it's over. It is absolutely, positively 100% over. Let's keep it real. If you hit the floor, you're calling life alert. I've fallen and I can't get up. I'm sorry, but that's more the reality of this situation. So you do have to suspend your disbelief in a situation like this. It's just as realistic as a 90-pound woman beating up on a bunch of men. We talk about that. It's just as unbelievable as that. So you see it there, right? Not saying that Harrison Ford can't be enjoyable on the screen. We all know that he can. I'm just saying there just comes a time, right? And because that time has come, you have to wonder what purpose this movie serves. I talked about this on Twitter the other day. I said that, honestly, guys, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade was the end for Indiana Jones. It was the best, the absolute best finale that you could hope for. At the end of the Raiders of the Lost Ark, Indiana Jones, they call it in the Raiders of the Lost Ark now, you wanted to see more. At the end of Temple of Doom, because it was a prequel, but also because Harrison Ford was still in his prime, you knew there was more to see. The Last Crusade was also that way. It was great. You learned more about Indy. You met his father and things like that. But by the time they actually literally rode off into the sunset, we could all sit back in our seats and say, you know what? Thank you. That was a great ride. I love it. I love it, love it, love it. And we would have been content with that. Okay, where we went with Crystal Skull, it didn't have to happen. You know what I mean? Some of us feel like that was the worst movie ever. Some of us feel like it was meh. You know, I was just happy to see Marion again. I'm a big fan of Indiana Jones and Marion, so I did appreciate that. But the movie didn't need to exist. And I think Harrison Ford was like 60-something in that movie. Now he's 80. You know what I mean? Why? Why does this movie even exist? It brings up the most, just pessimistic, most like, what word am I looking for here? Just something that is like, just not natural. You know what I mean? just something that is, oh God, the word is escaping me, but just something that just says something bad about Hollywood. You know what I mean? Where it only is there to get money. It's like, that's what it feels like to me. You know what I mean? Like, this didn't have to be, it didn't have to exist. There's no more of this story that I needed to see. I didn't need to know that Indiana Jones and Marion got divorced. I didn't need to know that Mutt died for whatever reason. You know, I didn't need to know all of this. I didn't need to know what he looked like in his twilight years. This goes against the whole idea of a legend, a modern day myth. You know, Charlie Brown never grows up. Charlie Brown is always going to be Charlie Brown. Those kids are never going to grow up. And if people do visualize them as grown up, it goes against like the very fabric of who they are. It's supposed to be a snapshot of a certain spot in time. That's the way it's supposed to be. So when you mess around with something that people didn't ask for, we didn't ask to see Indiana Jones lose and find his mojo. We didn't ask for that. That's not the essence of what a Saturday morning serial is. But that's what we're getting. So to each of their own, guys. I know that there are going to be people out here who love this. I know there's going to be people out here who come on to the comment and say, you got to wait and see. That's not what I'm talking about. Love the movie. Hate the movie. All you want. But the fact that these early reviews are coming back the way that they are is very distressing to me. I hate that it's happening to something that I love so much. I hate that it's happening to an actor that I love and respect so much. He deserves better than this. Of course, he chose to take this paycheck. Of course he did. But like I said before, the man is 80 years old. And when you get that old, sometimes you just don't know when it's time to sit down. Now, that being said, I could go to this movie and I could like what I see. Of course, I haven't seen it yet. A lot of people haven't made it to this point in this video before they turned it off. So they're going to bash me for saying, you haven't even seen it yet. I'm saying I haven't even seen it yet. So who knows how I'm actually going to feel about the finished product. But the fact of the matter is that it does disturb me to see these types of reviews and this type of reception coming in to this movie, to this character, to this actor. And that's what I'm talking about. I really wish that Disney hadn't gone the way that they've gone and that they're sucking dry everything that we have loved, everything that crosses generations. They act like, oh, every generation needs a hero in a new chapter. Well, Indiana Jones defies that because it crosses generations. You can't say this time, oh, it's for kids. No, Indiana Jones isn't like that. It's not supposed to be like that. Come up with a new excuse. But guys, anyway, that's the thoughts that I had when I was seeing these reviews. And I just wanted to share it with you guys. What do you think about this phenomenon? What do you think about the resurrection and the possible deconstruction of Indiana Jones? What do you think going into this movie? What are your feelings about it? If you watch this video after the movie comes out, what did you think of it? Let me know, guys. As always, I thank you guys for listening, and I will catch you on the next one. This is The Gospel According to Mark with a C. Rock on.